So my name is Nick, and I work at NIKSUN. We're a cybersecurity and network monitoring company that's based actually right next to Princeton University. I wanted to talk a little bit about the state of cybersecurity and protecting critical assets, such as hospitals or a utility grid. So I think the last couple of years has given me a little bit of leeway here that I don't have to explain in depth about how much of a threat that the cyber industry has become. We've seen attacks like WannaCry and Penya wipe out billions and billions of dollars of economic value. We've seen attacks like Equifax leak millions and millions of people's personal information and their data. We've seen attacks on HBO compromise different companies. And just this week, we actually heard in Britain that the utility companies, the water companies, electricity companies, and financial institutes there were put on high alert because they were afraid that a Russian attack could take down those institutions. Now, the amazing thing about the cybersecurity industry is that despite the billions and billions of dollars of investment that we've been putting in to protect those assets, we still can't answer really basic questions when something happens. So if I were a CIO, for example, or a CISO, or maybe even a commissioner in a state, the first question I'd probably ask when a breach happens is, well, when did it happen? I'd want to know the basic fundamental, when did it happen? The next question that I'd probably ask is, well, what happened? What data was leaked? Were my customers compromised? Were my maybe medical patients compromised? Was data leaked? You know, in the attack that or the leakage from Edward Snowden, what documents were actually leaked, and what is the impact on me? The next question I'd probably ask is who? Well, who was compromised? And who was the perpetrator? Was this actually a state-sponsored attack by a country like Russia? Or was it an insider threat? And then if I'm really serious about security, I'd probably ask how. How is it that after spending millions and millions of dollars in my company on firewalls, on intrusion prevention systems, on antivirus for my desktops, on log aggregators and event correlation tools, did I still get breached? How did they get through? So the problem is really twofold. The problem is, one, there are dark parts of our network, right? Our tools are only really seeing the tip of the iceberg. We have firewalls and IPSs and antivirus tools, which are blocking things that are already known to us. Now we can block WannaCry because it happened, and we can write a signature for it and put it in our firewall or an IPS to block it. But there are these vast parts of our network which we're not doing anything about. There's the IoT devices, the smart thermostats, for example, that we have no clue what's going on with them. We have no clue if there's a vulnerability. So that leads to the second part. The second part is every time we introduce new software, there's new vulnerabilities. In the state of economic development where we're trying to grow this country and this state's economy, it makes sense that we need to push out software and new releases very frequently. We try to do that as often as possible because we want the best solutions and technology. But every time you put out new software, even if it's a security patch for Windows, for example, there is a new bug in that software. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. There's always going to be a new threat, a new backdoor, a new way in. So how do we actually combat this problem? Well, let's take an analogy for instance. In a bank, the first line of defense that we put on a vault is a lock. But how many people here would be okay putting their life savings in a bank where the only line of defense was having a lock? Probably no one. Right? Because you can hack into the thing now because they're on networks. You could crack the code. You could take a hammer to the bank vault and take out the data that way. You could have an insider who actually knows the combination and bring the money out. Or you could just have a robber come in with a gun and force you to give them your money. So nobody here would probably be okay putting their life savings in a bank if it only had a lock. So why are we okay doing that with our private data? Why are we okay putting our personal information, our credit card information, our social security numbers in these databases that are only protected by things like firewalls? So that leads to the second line of defense, which is a security camera, right? Because when something happens in the bank, when someone breaks into the bank, when someone is able to compromise that, we want to answer the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how. We want to see who was the person that actually broke in, and then look through all of our other banks and say, did he come into any of these? Is he casing this other bank in a different region? We want to answer the what. We want to know how much money was taken, so we can go to our insurance companies and tell them, I just lost $10 million, and here's proof that that was taken from me. You need to pay me, so we can fight those cases. So what we at NIKSUN have developed is a security camera for the network. we place a camera and we monitor your cyber infrastructure. And that allows us to answer those fundamental questions: who, what, where, when, and how. And this is the type of tool that was actually used. We worked with the Secret Service, for example. The commissioner of the Department of Homeland Security, and he was the former director of the Secret Service. He reported directly to the president. He came and spoke at one of our conferences, and he said, "This tool helped me conduct the largest investigation that has ever been conducted in U.S. history. It literally saved billions of dollars in losses around the world, because they were able to use this tool and take down an identity threat criminal organization consisting of 28 different entities in 6 different countries." And this tool came out of a small company located right next to Princeton University that actually works with university students, PhD students. Our chief scientist is actually, he teaches graduate computer science courses there. And we're trying to facilitate that and bring that spotlight back to New Jersey. If you guys remember the major DDoS attacks that took place against financial institutions about 5 years ago, one of our customers, they weren't a customer before, but they came to us and said, "We've been hit by this multiple times, and we have no idea how to block it." And we came in and we gave them our tool, and the next time it happened, he was able to find out where did they come from. And you know where it came from? They were Iranian hackers who actually found out who they were, and those people were put in jail for trying to take down our US country's critical infrastructure. So for example, the Russian DNC hacking, the alleged Russian DNC hacking, we could have actually proved with the security camera what happened. Was it Russia? What did they take? When did they take it? But yet it's been almost a year now and we have absolutely no proof of what happened. So that is simply not okay. It's simply not okay for us to be pretending that our personal data and our personal information that is so valuable to us is nothing more than some bytes in a database. We need to take further steps. So I think in terms of how we can help in New Jersey, fostering partnerships like ours in Princeton's, perhaps with Rutgers, for example, where we're actually working with PhD students trying to come up with the future of technology is really, really critical. And then the second most important thing, or the second important thing that we can do is actually trying to get better legislation. So in the healthcare industry, for example, we have guidelines like HIPAA, where we actually say, we treat your data like your right to privacy. But in most industries, like Equifax, where credit card data and social security numbers were leaked, there was really no real fine or no real impact on them. The chief executives walked away with millions and millions of dollars of severance packages and probably just got a job somewhere else in the industry, despite not taking these basic fundamental steps. So I think as working together as a community in this state, trying to foster that innovation and growth, we can really make a difference. Thank you.